Hello people, good morning from Dhaka, Bangladesh. Enjoying my early morning tea, Earl Grey from House of Twinings. Okay, this is one of my favorite houses, not houses, companies. For as far as tea goes, I like Ahmad tea. I also like Yorkshire tea, and in Bangladesh, I like their local tea, Lipton, Ispahani, Mirzapur. So, big fan of tea. I prefer tea over coffee at times, most of the time. But you know, to each his own. But I'm enjoying Earl Grey today. Okay, so I'll be talking to you about a topic here today. I think it's important to me. It could be not important to you at all. You can skip the video, no problem. But here's the video for 10 reasons why I like designer fragrances, and I'm going to give you my reasons very straightforward. And I'd like to know your opinion. You can leave your comment below. And just to clarify one thing, that is, I'm not hating on niche fragrances. Many of you will be like twisting my video or title and be like, this guy hates niche fragrances, he cannot afford niche fragrances, so he's hating on it. No such thing. The clarification, or rather the fact I want to say is, every single fragrance that smells good, they are nice to wear, and they make you feel really particularly good about yourself, set your mood right. I like anything. It could be niche, it could be expensive niche, it could be budget friendly fragrance, it could be like a cheapest fragrance out there, $10, but they smell really nice. They're important, equally important for me. So I'll do another episode perhaps why I like 10 reasons why I like niche fragrances, but episode today I'm doing because I like my designers a little bit more for some reason, and I'll let you know my reasons. Okay, these are solely my reasons, and you can agree or disagree. First reason, I would say the price and the budget. Designer fragrances, on most part, they come at a very affordable price tag on most cases. When they come out brand new, yes, they're a little bit over $100, but you would hardly see any designers going over $200, which is the case with a lot of niche fragrances. They easily can cost you up to thousands of dollars, if you're buying something very expensive and you really have to spend big dollars, and I'm not saying anything wrong with it, but I think designers are more popular because of people in the whole world, majority world, they are not the richest of them all, right? So most of the people are within in the mid zone. They are like average Joe like me. So I think the first reason I would say price, it's a big factor. Second thing is presentation. Many of you would be like, no, presentations are not important. I understand that many of you throw away your boxes. That is also okay. That is up to you. It's not a must that you have to keep your boxes or presentation. But I like to take care of my boxes and bottles because I feel, these fragrances are like family members to me. I care for them a little bit more than many others do. And I do not let even the bottles get a scratch. This is how much I love them. Even if they're empty, I do not throw them. I keep them back at some storage place just to look at them sometimes that I've gone through one full bottle. So I think presentations are important. When you see designers, on most part, they give you brand new bottles, unless there's a Mugler or some other company or some other line, they have the similar exact same bottle, but hardly you see that. So sometimes you'll find some bottles cheesy, but sometimes you'll find bottles like this, like D Square Rocky Mountain Wood, so these kind of bottles, they have put so much thought in there, like just the whole idea or the planning went to just make a bottle like this. You just see this product in the market, but you do not know how much, they planned to make such a nice bottle, real wood, and there's like nice glass bottle, and there's this atomizer at the side. It's a very unique bottle from this, and you'll see many other designer fragrances, they have that. Some of the niche fragrances, it gets sometimes a little bit boring for me, I'll just admit it. Like when I see Creed bottles, they look great, all of them look great, but they're all same. So it's not a big of a deal, but I like presentation. Sometimes I buy bottles just for the bottle's design, like maybe the fragrance is mediocre, but I would like to have that bottle in my collection because I'm like a goldfish. I'm attracted to shiny objects, right? So presentation is second. Okay, third one is I would say compliments. Many of you already know this. Designer fragrance bring more compliments than niche fragrances. So right now it would be up for debate. Are you wearing fragrance for just compliments or for your own sake, own enjoyment? I would say for me it's a combined. I would enjoy a fragrance. I look at the day outside, I wake up, I see it's a sunny day, so I'm gonna wear something that goes with that weather. I'm not gonna wear something that is skanky or challenging, and I'm not gonna be able to enjoy it. I will pull out a fragrance like that, right? So I think compliments, they are big part. It feels good when people say that, bro, what you're wearing, then I'll tell them like, hey, I'm wearing like Flower Bomb, and then people will be like, oh, that's a women's perfume, isn't it? I'm like, yeah. But then you're like, yeah, you're pulling it out, like you smell really nice. I didn't know that women's perfume would, would be so easy, you know, like they'll smell so nice on you. It happens, you know, that's true. So I really have one of my brothers, he smelled this fragrance on me one time and he's like, that's a nice, damn nice fragrance. It's, I actually prefer that over Spice Bomb. It's much more longer lasting, much more sweeter. So it does bring out compliments with just one spray. So number 4, point wise, number 4 is they're accessible. What I mean by accessible, like you go to your next door shopping mall, and most of you live overseas. In Bangladesh, we don't have that kind of shopping malls with a lot of boutiques and stuff, but those countries they do, like Singapore, Malaysia, Indonesia, you know, where I lived, like that zone, and like States or Canada or Japan, wherever you are from. You go to your malls, you'll see your Versace counter, Pakuraban counter. Every single house, they have their own fragrance collection with the testers. So you can go out there and check it. You're not, you know, like, you don't have to buy fragrances. It's not a must. You can try it out on paper or skin, and you can think about it. You know, you can later go and buy it if you like it. So many of the niche fragrances, you cannot actually say the same. Many of the niche fragrances, there's absolutely no collection whatsoever in any shopping malls, and sometimes you have to blind buy them, or you have to go overseas. You can find them in duty free, but how many people actually can travel, or they do travel? So accessible factor is very important because designers are everywhere. So that's my number 4. Number 5 is wearability and simplicity. Designer fragrance, as you know, they are not, you know, they don't use the most expensive components to use their fragrance ingredients wise. Like let's say for Creed or Amouage, they would use frankincense, would be used by Amouage, very high quality. Ambergris would be used by Creed, and that's the most natural, you know, like organic and, you know, ingredients they use. So yes, they people know that. So sometimes that's why maybe the prices are so high for niche, but that could be up for debate, you know, like prices is another debate. But what I really understand is designer fragrances are easier to use, you know, they are less, you don't have to put so much thought, like, okay, I'm gonna wear, you know, like black Afghano every day. I don't think I know another dude who'd be wearing black Afghano or something daring like that for a daily basis. People like to wear something fresh, you know, easy to wear, day-to-day basis, casual. So I think in that way, designers offer a little bit more, and sometimes simplicity, it's better, I guess, you know, it's simplicity to me sometimes works. All right, so number 6, I would say surprising factors. Okay, here is the interesting part. Some of the designer fragrances, as I told you just now, they use most like synthetic compounds to make their fragrances, and you know, sometimes you'll see they are using ambroxan and stuff, ambergris, they're using like synthetic wood and stuff. But sometimes the fragrances are so simple, they come from some houses that you wouldn't expect such quality from one fragrance, you know. Like say Hermes, you know, Terre d'Hermes, this is one legendary fragrance, you know, and let me give you just example of this fragrance. This quality of this juice, it's so good. Sometimes this one, even Dior Intense, people would compare them as niche level, you know, Dior Parfum. Why? Because despite being a designer, you know, the factor that this fragrance lasts that long, it projects so beautifully, it smells very natural, that orangey, earthy feel, and the complexity you get from a designer. Yes, I just talk about simplicity, now I'm talking about complexity. Some designers offer you that, and you'd be like, I could easily pay for this, like few more hundreds for the quality. Yeah, you'd feel that. And if this was a niche, like their Hermes's niche line release, it would still sell for a few $100, you know, so people would actually pay for the quality. So that one, the surprising factor, I think is great sometimes from designers. I really like it. I like the designers for that. Sometimes they really surprise you. Number 7 is inspiration for niche fragrances, designers. Okay, yes, it's true. Like many designer fragrances, or let's say clone houses, are inspired by niche fragrances, and they do their own sort of a version. Sometimes the reverse happens. If you know Job Homme, if you know Mont Blanc Individual, these two fragrances are kind of like designer fragrances. They inspired Creed to do Original Santal, right? And is it Original Santal? Creed's, oh good lord, okay, so never mind. You understand which fragrance I'm talking about. If I have forgotten, I'll write down the thing, so the fragrance name. So the fragrance inspiration sometimes come from designer, and then they make much more upscale version of it, like their version of it, to go with the market, and they get so much more love and popularity, but the designers actually were the inspiration, right? So how come? Hold on. Yeah, so I just want to double check it. I said Original Santal, I thought it was Original Vetiver, and I'm messing it up with the Santal. No, it is Original Santal. So Original Santal I do not own, but I really like the fragrance. But when you think of it, you know, Yopom designer fragrance, $20-30, you know, they actually were the inspiration for few $100 worth Creed fragrance. So there you go, you know, like you see, it works sometimes both ways. So I think, you know, that is a big factor for me, you know, like respect designers, right? Respect for designers, okay? Then number 8, batch variation, no issue. This particular thing is very important, okay? Just an example. If I give you an example, it will be easy for you to understand. When you see Creed Aventus, you'd find so many batch variations, and you have to get the very right batch to get that very the magical potion. But that is not same for all the designers. Designers have certain particular batch, they maintain that quality throughout, right? So if you, let's say, get 15, let's say there's a number 1501, 15ZZ, something, you know, let's say La Nuit de l'Homme. Once it was like really potent and strong and sweet and compliment getter, and then as long as you get something from those years, you are good to go. But if you get from, let's say, I'm not very expert on creeds, people have this whole thread going on with the Aventus. Let's say you get the Aventus that's from 2017, and you then get one from 2015 or 2016, but you can't tell for sure which one is fruity, which one is smoky, right? And they are very hard to find also, and you have to pay again the top dollars, right? So yes, just to get the right formulation, sometimes, you know, it's no issue with designers. They're much easier, you know, like as long as you are within that number, you are good. But then you have to really hunt down, you know, like the particular batch of a niche fragrance, because this is kind of annoying for me. Why don't they make everything good? Why some of them are bad, some of them good batches? Why some of them weak, some of them are not weak? It's kind of, I'm not very fond of that, you know. I don't know if you agree with me, but they should maintain, you know, like as long as you're charging so much, maintain that quality, right? Sometimes niche fragrances do not do that. Every single bottle is different from each other. Designers doesn't happen. Sometimes it's a good thing, right? Number 9, more in number. What I mean by it, as I was telling you, more accessible. Now I'm gonna say about numbers. Designers produce whole lot number of bottles than niche fragrances. Niche are like more like your Maserati, okay, or maybe say Bugatti cars, you know, like Bugatti Veyron, you know. So back in the days, they just made limited number, and they're super expensive, and only few people in the world can afford them, and they'll own them. So maybe they'll feel good about themselves. You see the car and they'll be like very proud. But designers, what happen is, you can find anywhere you go, you can find so many bottles. They're not going to run out of stock in a first week or first month, and very hard to find. As long as they're producing, they'll always have restock. So it's a nice thing, you know. More in number means many more people will get to enjoy those fragrances. In a way, I think it's very commendable. It's very nice. So more people get to use a fragrance, the more people get to love, and you know, they create memories and stuff. All right. So I think it's commendable, you know. The number of fragrances, they do matter. They're a big industry, and many more people in the world get to enjoy the fragrances in the designer side, okay? And the last point I would like to rather say, it's sort of like a sentimental point. I think this one, many of you would agree. If you see the reviewers back in the time, who started the community, or the earlier reviewers, or even people, let's say reviewers and people, community all together, you know, like combinedly. Reviewers started their game with designer fragrance. You'd see big reviewers started with Cool Water, what's so great about it. They would make a 26 minutes video, how it inspired them. They would tell a story, and they wouldn't hold back. They would give their, you know, like their story, how they met their girlfriend and how it was their wedding scent. And then slowly they moved into, in number of years, they got into the niche. You know, there's nothing wrong with it once again, but designers actually started the game for many of us. That's what I'm trying to say. Many people, even today, let's say people who started using Bleu de Chanel, and that was their first fragrance. For me, it was Hugo Boss Bottled. When I started off my collection or my journey with fragrances, you know, one of my first fragrances, Hugo Boss Bottled, Armani Code. I'll always remember them. They are always going to be like having the sentimental value. So I didn't even know what's niche and designer back in the time. I just want to smell good. I like those bottles. You know, even if I pick up this bottle today, very common bottle, Cool Water. If I pick it up today, I saw my elder brothers, uncles, all had this in their wardrobe. You know, like it used to be like expensive for us. You know, like when we were in the school, college, we see this and we would having like body sprays. That would be like a big thing for us. But we wanted to get a bottle of this, what our uncles smell like, what our fathers smell like. So there was a lot of you know, number of years of reputation on this bottle. They sold so many bottles. Even if it's reformulated, people still buying it. You know, it's still in production. So I think that sentimental value that designer fragrance started a game for, you know, it's very important. And I think even the reviewers would agree that that was inspiration for them to get into the fragrance game much more hardcore later on. So yeah, you can start even at a niche, no problem. But I think these are some of the reasons I really like designer fragrance, and you'd see me buying and reviewing, and I can get a lot more bottles, to be honest. For one niche fragrance bottle price, I can get like 4 or 5 solid fragrances. I think they're solid in my opinion. I can get designers like Fan de Fendi Assoluto, like these are damn nice fragrances. Like you can get that kind of fragrance, like 4 or 5 bottles for one niche fragrance. So to me sometimes, like quantity also important, because I am again an average Joe. So anyway, these are my reasons. So these are the reasons why I like designer fragrances, and I'm not saying I like designers over niche, okay, but I do like designer fragrances for these particular 10 reasons. Thank you guys for watching. Thanks for supporting, and have a very nice day and have a very nice weekend. I'll talk to you soon. Have a very nice day. Bye bye.